Welcome to my channel, Discussion to the Point. I'm your host, Vinayak. Today we are going to discuss why Indian football keeps falling behind. Indian football isn't failing because Indians are bad at football. It's failing because the system makes success unlikely. India is currently ranked outside the top 100 in FIFA rankings. It has never qualified for men's FIFA World Cup through the qualification process. And despite having one of the largest populations in the world, Indian football remains peripheral on the global stage. This isn't a mystery, and it isn't about passion. It's about structure. To understand Indian football's current state, we don't need to start in the 1950s. We need to start with how football works today. Modern football success is built on four pillars: youth development, coaching, domestic competition, and governance. Indian football struggles in all four. Let's start with the talent because there's where most debates begin. India does not lack football talent. What it lacks is a system that consistently converts talent into professionals. Across regions like West Bengal, Kerala, Goa, and the Northeast, football is culturally embedded. Young players emerge every year with technical ability, physical traits, and tactical intuition. But very few survive the transition from youth football to professional football. This is not accidental. In most successful football nations, young players move through a clearly defined pathway: school football, academy football, competitive youth leagues, reserve teams, and then senior football. In India, that pathway is fragmented. Youth players often play fewer than 10 competitive matches a year. Scouting is inconsistent. Age group competitions are irregular, and long term development is frequently sacrificed for short term tournament results. Without reputation, players don't develop decision making. Without competitive minutes, potential stagnates. Talent doesn't disappear, it simply exits the system. The problem becomes worse when we look at coaching. India has a severe shortage of qualified football coaches. Compared to footballing nations like Germany or Japan, the number of licensed coaches per player is dramatically lower. At grassroots levels, one coach is often responsible for hundreds of players. That limits individual attention. It also limits tactical education, and it encourages outdated, results driven coaching methods. Young players are taught to avoid mistakes rather than understand the game. Creativity becomes a risk, and football becomes mechanical. Modern football is complex. It requires players who can interpret space, adapt to systems, and make decisions under pressure. That kind of intelligence is coached, not discovered. Then there's domestic league structure. The Indian Super League has unquestionably improved football's visibility in India. Stadiums look better, broadcast looks professional, and the product is more appealing. But development and presentation are not the same thing. The ISL has a short season. Squads rely heavily on foreign players in key positions, and young Indian players often struggles to accumulate meaningful minutes. This creates a bottleneck. A league that looks strong on television does not automatically produce national team players. For that, you need volume in terms of more matches, more tires, and stronger integration between youth and senior football. In countries with successful leagues, the domestic system feeds the national team continuously. In India, that connection is still weak. All of this exists within a broader governance problem. Indian football has suffered from long term administrative instability. Leadership changes frequently, development plans are often rewritten, and continuity is rare. Football development requires consistency over decades, but Indian football policy often changes every few years. This makes long term planning difficult. It discourages investment and it prevents accountability. When results don't arrive, there is no stable framework to evaluate what failed because the framework itself has changed. To understand what this looks like in practice, comparison always helps. In the early 1990s, Japan was not a football power. Its national team struggled regionally. Its domestic league was semi professional. But Japan built a system. They invested in school football. They professionalized coaching education. They created a stable domestic league structure. And they protected long term planning from short term pressure. The result wasn't immediate, but today Japan regularly qualifies for World Cups, exports players to Europe, and competes at the highest level. The difference wasn't talent, it was design and approach. Indian football doesn't need a miracle, it doesn't need a golden generation, and it doesn't need to abandon realism. What it needs is structural clarity, more competitive matches at youth level, better trained coaches, longer domestic seasons, and governance that prioritizes continuity over optics. Indian football's current state is not inevitable. It is predictable outcome of how the system is built. And systems, unlike myths, can be redesigned. So, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and mention in the comment section about the next topic. So, let's meet in the next video. Thank you.